Hi, welcome to the Popular Podcast. My name is Philip. Let's go ahead and take a look in the mailbag. Jake D asks, does it bother you when you see a time bomb counting down in a movie, but the scene takes way longer to play out than the timer itself? It drives me crazy. Can't they just increase the countdown start time? Jake, I definitely don't recommend putting too much stock in how long a countdown timer has been running. In the context of an action sequence, it's rarely a real-time affair. I think my larger issue with countdown sequences that are meant to crank up our fear and suspense is that they're too outrageous to fully grasp the stakes. I know it's hard for me personally to wrap my singular mind around something as significant or disastrously consequential as a nuclear bomb. Now, if anyone wanted to really jack up the suspense, then they should create a timed situation around baking or cooking. For instance, imagine if there were cookies baking, and we as the viewers knew that the timer was about to go off, but there was no one there to monitor the oven to take them out. We'd know that the timer could go off, and the cookies would just be sitting in there burning. That's relatable feeling, and we know that there's no going back once those black edges start forming. And the cookie's going to lose all of its chewiness. At best, it'll just have kind of a crumbly crunch to it with a tinge of burnt taste that really hijacks the entire flavor. At that point, why even bother? Now it's time for Bird Watch. Lately, I've been going on walks or jogs at dusk in an attempt to avoid the worst of the midsummer heat. As I move down the sidewalk and look up into the darkening sky, I've been noticing the silhouettes of these little black birds that flitter and flop around in the air, as opposed to most birds that seem to efficiently glide or flap on a specific trajectory. I wonder if these particular birds I'm seeing are trying to catch bugs out of midair or something. The way they move makes them seem like they almost aren't even birds at all, but something totally different. Sometimes I'll get a clear glimpse of their shape, and it looks almost like they don't really have feathers on their wings, but dark stretched out skin. And I'm pretty sure I saw some ears just sort of sticking up off of one of their heads. And I don't think most birds have silhouettes like that. I'm sure it's just the darkness playing tricks on me. I guess their identity will continue to remain a mystery, but I'll continue keeping an eye out for these fleshy-winged, night-loving birds. That's it for this week's Birdwatch. Remember to watch out for birds. Just a friendly warning. If you have access to a bowl of chocolates, take note of each chocolate's manufacturer. If there are chocolates from multiple companies in the mix, eating differing brands' chocolates in quick succession will really accentuate the taste difference between the different chocolatiers, and that probably isn't going to be a good thing. Okay, you've been warned. I think one of my most memorable moments being out among nature is a little time I spent in the mountains of Washington State. Even if you're only a little familiar with that area of the country, you know it can carry a lot of moisture and rain and fog, not to mention their glut of roaring waterfalls that pour in from all over, I guess. I was with some friends on a day hike, and the weather was mild and breezy, mostly sunny. Still, the trails were pretty damp, which led to a fair bit of mud. It was a challenge to stay balanced on the inclines, let alone keep your shoes from getting sucked into the thirsty ground. On our way down, I saw a group of younger guys bounding up the narrow trail. I noticed one sandy-haired boy in particular, clutching one of the intermittent rails that peppered the trail's more heavily trafficked areas. He held an eager but slightly nervous look on his face as he struggled to push through the muddy ground. When I looked at his feet, I saw that he was wearing a pair of classically styled running shoes made of combination suede and mesh. In fact, they were just like my shoes. Now I wasn't wearing those shoes at that time, my pair was at home, but I knew that he was going to get those shoes good and muddy, and it wasn't going to be easy to clean them. So yeah, I guess that's my most memorable outdoors moment. Okay, before we wrap things up, it's time for household tips. Have you ever dropped and broken a glass or something made of glass? It can be a disappointing ordeal and stressful to clean up. On top of being sad about losing a piece of your glassware, you're also wondering if you really got all of those pieces up off the floor. It's easy to get the big pieces, but there's often tiny shards that can slip away unnoticed or hide across the room. You might be finding remnants over the next several days or even weeks. So in order to get up those last little pieces, here's the tip. Try walking slowly and deliberately through the affected room with your bare feet. The small shards will stick to your feet, so you can then easily pick them off and throw them away. Okay, that'll do it for another Pop Filler. Thanks for listening, and remember, you'll be fine.